should be. We are live now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the post-convention wrap-up show for SDHistCon Winter Quarters. I've got Harold Buchanan, Jeff Dreyer from SDHistCon here, and an esteemed guest, Mark Herman, is joining us as well. Hello, gentlemen. Good days today?
Great day today, Mike. A lot going on, a lot of events. We had, Mark Herman and Andrew and Volko had the early shift. Jeff, you were there for some of the early shift, I think.
I'm ticking over into the 13th hour now. This is the 12-hour mark for me. We kicked it off with coffee with Andrew Buchholz at least 6 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Eastern, and have been a lot of programming all the way through. It's been a great day so far.
Yeah, fantastic. And overall thoughts on the conference? How'd it go? And what's the thinking?
Mark, what do you think?
So I have to say that I enjoyed this one as much as the other ones, but the thing I learned from the past ones is I did more prep, and that really worked out well. I had given, and Andrew, of course, was wonderful because I can't do squat with a computer beyond type on it. And, all this video stuff, but I had prepared, when you're doing, I had Vassal and I had slides with arrows on it. The problem you have with Vassal is you see the map into pieces, right? And everybody does demos with Vassal, but, I'm going, look over there, but they can't see my finger pointing at the screen. And so sometimes I'll say, here's what it looks like. But then I used basically a PowerPoint slide, but turned into PDFs where I had that same section of map, but now I've got arrows on it and I can talk to it in a way that I couldn't do with Vassal. So I had the Vassal so they could see it, but I was really briefing from pictures of the map. And I thought that worked. I mean, I don't know if it worked better, but I felt better about it. How's that? I got no feedback because I was on StreamYard. And I had to close Discord because StreamYard and Discord were fighting for the speakers and the microphone. So I had to shoot one in the head. So I killed Discord for a while. So I couldn't see what they were saying or who was on. But I had like 34 people, I think. Is that normal? Or that's a reasonable size, right?
That's pretty good. And you may have had more than that, but that's what was reported. It was. Then you moved after that. You moved back to Discord, and I saw you were holding court there as well.
Well, I was with, Liz had asked Morgana and I to do this thing on Rome. So we had a great, discussion about, I hadn't talked about Rome in a long time, but, I didn't realize how many games I'd done on Rome. So I forgot.
That was a great discussion. And it was awesome that you guys got onto the topic of just how much Rome is centered around the male activity in combat. and there's a couple of great books that I put into the chat that are still up in that Discord channel from that are about the women of Rome, and very not much, right? Not much written, not much remembered, but a lot of great stuff there.
Well, the problem you've got with remember my degree's in ancient history, so literally, and I once, if you could read 100 books, you've read all of ancient history because most of it got burnt up in. If it wasn't resurrected during the monks, recopying all the old textbooks, only the Vatican's got like the first copy, the oldest copy Thucydides, and all that kind of nonsense. But you read these various ancient sources, they're referencing things that don't exist. It's a bibliography of books you can't find. And so when you say to me, there's not a lot of stuff, but they didn't write, the women weren't being paid by a patron to write a history for them to give out to their friends. Sure. Therefore, getting a lot of female. I'm sure the women were hugely, they had kids and they probably ran the country, but they did it quietly apparently because
Zenobia, theoretically,
they don't show up in history books, so they didn't write them.
Yeah. So it was interesting. It was an interesting discussion, and it's. And I've been doing. I have an idea for a game around the competition between Caesar and Plato, or not Plato, Cato. What is it? Plato, Cato.
I know what you mean. During the Roman Civil War, Cato, of course, famously, as they were closing in on him in North Africa, he killed himself. Because it was going to go badly.
And Cato, they're very interesting competitors, right? I mean, the Caesar was the big personality, the big warrior, the hero. a populist politician, and Cato was very much principles based. And I think it's a very timely bit of discussion for politics today. And I thought it very interesting. So I've been reading a ton about it. I'm not sure if I'll ever turn, again, can I turn something into a game? I've done it 4 times and it's hard each time. But
it's hard every time.
Every time. But
when did it get easy?
You've been through it more, right?
I'm just older.
Yeah.
Actually, this year I've been doing this for 50 years now.
Wow.
It's great.
Wow. So
Mark, I liked your discussion on the combat results table this morning in Army of the Potomac. I thought that was really insightful because I generally just use a combat results table and it is what it is. So I didn't really think about all the thought and work and effort that goes into it, But
I was also trying to what I was trying to do with what I have done in my mind with Rebel Fury and that system is usually the narrative is around the movement and where people end up, but I want the narrative to be, I wanted the combat narrative to be the one that's in the books. And so that was to me the big thing that hasn't been, remember at SPI, you had a CRT, you got a force ratio, roll the dice, a modifier, boom, attack or retreat, whatever the heck it is. And same thing for Civil War games, right? You look at the blue and gray quad, it works exactly the same way. I got 17, you got 8, I got 2-to-1 odds, roll the die. But that's not what's in the books. The books are about, we went up the hill, we came down the hill. We went up the hill, we came down. I mean, look at, Harold, you're an American Revolution guy. Look at the Bunker Hill, 5 assaults that take but so if you just do that as one die roll, you don't learn anything. You don't see the energy it requires to get that 5th assault and then take the redoubt. So I wanted them to fail, and as a general rule, some people hate it because they don't realize they're making a lot of 1-to-2 attacks, which in a normal CRT you'd fail, you wouldn't, but they keep going, well, it's all dice. Well, the answer is you're making a 1-to-2 attack. You got to commit to a series of attacks, otherwise it's not going to work. And that's the part that I'm trying to educate people on, but that's fine. I usually, most of the stuff I do, it takes people a little while to say, oh, that didn't suck as much as I thought. It takes a little while. You should, by the way, when I did We the People, I heard them talk about We the People. They literally were burning me in effigy at Origins when I showed up. The Hex Encounter guys, they had a big old statue, they were burning it, and Herman sucks, and they hated it so bad. They said, this is the worst thing in wargaming ever. Okay, now I guess I didn't lose that one in the long run.
Well, but some of them have actually gotten over that.
The people, they hated it.
That's awesome.
They hated it. And they told me, by the way, these are wargamers. They all told me they hated it. To my face, by the way. They actually, remember as Origins, we don't have all this stuff. They walked up and said, Mark, your game sucks. I love this hobby.
It was a great panel, though. That was Morgan Guillaume-Roté was there as well. Riccardo Massini had a tank battle at a remote location that turned out to be the headquarters of the Italian army at the point where they
I didn't see that
one. Sides and fought the Germans.
Wow.
Right.
They actually did it at that location?
They did it it was a headquarters. I shouldn't say the headquarters, but you know how headquarters go.
There's usually a lot of headquarters.
Right.
So what was your favorite part, Mike, that you saw?
3 things come to mind. I liked your presentation, Army of Potomac. I caught 3 mostly. I caught Voko's presentation on Race to Rabaul, which was really interesting because I like the Race to the Rhine from Phalanx, and then I'm really interested to see his touch on it too. And then I've just had a personal interest in individual soldier tactical level combat in terms of the raid experience. And so I sat in on David Thompson's 5th Platoon, which is really kind of an evolution. Yeah, it's an evolution of a lot of his Valiant Defense series and some of the other things that he's done. I was able to catch about half of that one. I thought that was fascinating just to see how that's coming into like the Valiant Defense is often kind of a tower defense where you're basically things come at you in lines in the long paths, but this is a much more free-flowing AI driven tactical combat system that could easily, I think, be adapted to a raid type experience. I was really interested to see him walk through that too. So those were some particular highlights that I had. And then coffee, it's always fun to hear from a bunch of people. I thought Riccardo was really funny this morning too. He was very entertaining to listen to. So yeah, I had a great day. I had a really good time. Yeah.
Well, I met his, when I went to this Italian convention where they were releasing Churchill in Italian and Riccardo was there, and I met his father. and his father. You know that famous French actor, Depardieu.
Gerard Depardieu.
Ricardo's father looks like his brother. I swear, I was like, I thought you were dead. That was hysterical. It really does.
I think some people are just instantly funny. You know, it's just like the guy. It was just entertaining to listen to. I really like that. Yeah. But I think the other thing I really appreciate about these two is that, you know, it's such an insight into the designer's mind. You have so many designers talking about things they're working on and sharing how they're building them and where they are. And, you know, where else can you get that type of experience and that type of insight into a hobby that you've got? I mean, I'm sure there's ones out there, but it's just fascinating. You see these, you know, giants in the industry coming in and sharing what they're working on and how they're building it and why they built it that way. I mean, what a great enhancement to the hobby in the whole, and what a treat to be able to have these in your own living room. You can just watch whatever ones you want, you know. So I really, especially in the middle of winter, I really like these. I think they're such a great plus for the hobby.
I got to give a shout out to you, Harold. You know, it's when I woke up this morning, it was -2, and I know in Minneapolis, Mike, that's like, you know, kind of a spring day for you guys.
We call that July, Mark. We call that
that's July for you guys. But -2 in the Hudson Valley in January is well below. You know, we're usually like 28, 30. You know, but -2 is freaking cold, and there was a wind chill on top of that, so I don't know what the heck it was. But you know, you innovating and with Jeff and the whole team, this whole online thing. I mean, I'm having a great time. I'm sitting in my office, as you can see. You know, there's the my 3-dimensional Gettysburg map. You see that in the background, and you know, it's just like I'm wearing a sweater. I'm nice and comfortable. Had food, and I didn't go outside for eight seconds the whole day. You know, so it's great. I mean, and I had fun all day. You know, listening to people, talking to people. You know, it's fabulous. So congratulations on that's an innovation in wargaming. We actually get to talk to each other. We don't have to actually spend, you know, tons of money going there. So it's great.
What we can do is go ahead.
Sorry, I was thinking, you know, we had the innovation panel. I was thinking the community of wargaming is really an innovation in itself. You know, the ability to connect over things like Basel, Discord for game design, and there's a lot of game-based ones. You know, there's ones on all kinds of series. Avalon Hill, Combat Commander has their own Discord. You know, this type of experience, and so many people I think have mentioned to me, reaching out, say, how do I find someone to play with? And that's getting easier, and that I think is changing the hobby. I think it was Brooklyn Wargaming talking about getting so many more younger people into the New York wargaming group, how he's seeing, you know, 20, 30 people in their 20s and 30s coming in. And I see that on the YouTube channel with people, you know, younger people coming in, say, wow, I didn't know these things existed. This is great, you know, and finding people and connecting and playing on Rally the Troops and on Board Game Arena. That ability to connect, because so much of, I think, what we do hobby-wise is socially driven. And that question of, I like these games, but I can't find anyone to play with. It's getting easier and easier. And I would argue the work here, you know, is a huge part of that. The work that you guys do with SDHistCon is a huge part of that as well. But I definitely think you're right, Mark, that's an innovation in our hobby that's having a huge impact.
Well, I don't think first off, I think, Harold, I'm going to get an invitation to come to their place, because he always says to me, you should come over. I go, all right, so I'm from Brooklyn. I'm just going to wander around looking for this house. I'm going to knock on the door, and you're not going to be there. How does that work? You know, do I look? You know, so you're going to have to coordinate with me a little bit. I'm happy to get on the F train. I know where that is. You know, where their house is probably about a mile from where I was born, so I know the lay of the land. But you know, it's Brooklyn. I mean, you just go wandering around, going, hey, you know. Probably have some anti-Semite try to run me over with his car when I do that. You know, so it'd be great. So, but anyway, my only point is that I love face-to-face gaming. That's why I like going to conventions and seeing people and playing games. But, you know, I can't do that more than a few times a year, you know, just for cost and time and, you know, wear and tear on my body. But this stuff is great, you know, and, you know, I'm even in a game club, you know, Volko's in it also, but that's the bad side. But Roberto Satola has a club, and Jeremy's in it. But, you know, so those are both my club members that you had on your innovation panel. And I play, Volko and I played Coast Watchers, and we played Verdun, and we play all these games, and that's what I'm playing with. So it's great. I can barely tolerate Volko, but still I'll play a game with him once in a while.
That's
I'm
by the
looking
way,
at. Oh, sorry. Go
Mike,
ahead.
that's a picture of Gerard Depardieu.
Oh, on the add to stage
Yes.
below. Do you want me to add that up?
Yeah,
here
just for a second, I want everybody to see what
I was. Okay, I'm glad you said that because I thought it was one of our surprise guests here, and I'm like, I can't see this. This does not look
funny.
like.
Yeah.
I let this person in. Or not?
Believe it or not, Ricardo's father's better looking than he. That's him near the end of his life. He was better looking when he was younger. It's a little thinner, but yeah, he looks. That's kind of.
I just wanted everybody to see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Great actor though.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did, Harold, because I was a little bit confused. So
Sorry
that's
about
awesome. No. I like confusion. It makes us stronger.
What happened to? Oh, there's Jeff.
Yeah, we got it. Jeff, how was your day? You've been a little.
It was
bit
great.
Yeah.
It was. For me, the best thing about these are seeing old friends. From past online cons or face-to-face cons, you get to see again, including, of course, the designers. We're really fortunate, Mark, to have you and Volko and all the other design talent that joined us. I enjoyed today. I hadn't had a lot of exposure to some of VUCA and Catastrophe's upcoming titles, so I thought them having a presence and showing things off was great. I love that some of the things were on YouTube because I couldn't watch some of them, like Mike, your innovation one. I actually had a conflict at that time, but I'll be able to go back and watch that now. So excited for that. I really enjoyed the Ananda, Jason, and Dan 20th anniversary for Twilight Struggle, which is one of my favorite games. Harold, I'll leave the Is It a War Game topic for a different time because I'd all put a quarter in you. And then the other one that I thought was great because he's been at least at 2 or 3 of our online cons and one of our face-to-face con. Harold, your interview with Todd McFarlane. Just because I never really heard from him at length, and just the energy and stories he had was pretty awesome. So, all in all, great day.
How do I know him?
Well, I think I introduced
you entree, Harold. You have the whole spiel.
Yeah, I introduced him, Mark, when he came to the con. But he's
the comic book guy. You mean Venom guy?
He's the comic book guy, but
yeah. He was very interesting.
He's a comic book guy with a Grammy and an Emmy. Yeah.
No, but look. I
and in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Really, I got it. He's a big celebrity. Got all that. I knew the name, but I spoke to him for about a half hour on the steps of that Portuguese center on the outside, right by the parking lot with you. Yeah. He was a very cool guy. I liked him. But when I heard the name, I said, I know this name, but
he's very interesting. We really only scratched the surface, right? I think there's so much there, and I wanted to talk about his business, and he wanted to talk about board games, which is an interesting dynamic. But
I'll have to watch the interview. Which board games is he playing?
Liberty or Death. Next question.
Good answer. Is that true?
And that probably
what I would like to see, Harold, at a future either online or face-to-face con. I think there was a implicit challenge, like, hey, I've played a lot of coin. I feel like I maybe could take you, and you were like, I'm not so sure. So that might be
there was no. It wasn't. It was unequivocal. He said, "Kick my ass," right? Mike, I don't know if we can get us on your podcast, but
it's all good.
Okay. I curse all the time, and people get over it.
So no, we'll have to set that up. Maybe we'll have to set it up for sure.
I'll play that game.
You're good at it. I don't like playing you either.
Yeah, well, I am good at it. It's the American Revolution. I get it.
You told me once designers aren't good at their games except for you.
I never said that. I just said that.
No, you did.
Well, I said no. Erg is loud in the game. I'm better than he is. I got that right. But I actually play games. And by the way, Volko's a good game player, and so is Jeremy. I know, and Roberto is very good, by the way. He's not a designer, but so I play with good players, It's not worth playing with I'm usually teaching when I'm when somebody's not good, I'm just teaching it to them. So but to really play somebody, I have to know that they know what they're doing. Otherwise it's no fun.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's ton of work that goes into SDHistCon, and thank you for all the work that you put into that. And I think this is probably a good time too to talk a little bit about just the state of, like, this one went well, a lot of work going and things going forward that you're looking forward to, and how the organization is doing, and all those elements. So I know a lot of people are interested in that because they appreciate the organization so much. So I'll maybe shift us a little bit to that, unless there's other things we still want to talk about with the conference today.
No, thanks for the transition, Mike. The SDHist is doing great, right? We're thriving. We've got more interest than we've ever had. The conventions are growing. We've had the issue crop up with the War College, and that they've had some unpredictable budget times and are still in the midst of that. So we didn't do War College last year. We're not going to do War College this year, but we have a great relationship with them. They want us to return. And we love them. I mean, it's a great venue, and for a small number of people, it's a wonderful experience. But our charge remains: how do we communicate, grow the hobby, get it to people in their hands to touch and enjoy, and also for us all to grow within the context of the hobby. So, the summit in San Diego is our centerpiece. It's the biggest con we've had to date. And, it's a wonderful gathering. As a matter of fact, when we went public, the demand was so great, we sold out in less than 24 hours. So, that is going to continue to be a key event, but we're space limited. So we do 2 online conventions this year. It's going to be winter quarters, which you just enjoyed. And then, of course, we're going to have something right after the 4th of July to celebrate the American Revolution 250th anniversary. Of the what is it? I guess it's the signing of the Declaration.
Are you going to that Camden thing?
What's that?
We're going to go to the Camden thing also, right?
I'm going to be in Africa, so I'll be in Kenya, and you'll be in Camden.
An elephant or something.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited. So I'm going to miss the GMT event, but we're going to have an online event just after the 4th. And just, get guys like Mark and Volko and others that love the American Revolution and the time period and the games, and we'll just hang out, talk about it, maybe have a few surprise guests. So that's going to happen as well sometime this summer. But we also have the inaugural Minneapolis convention. So Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, NorthCon, SDHist North. We have a lot of interesting names for it, but we're all excited to be headed up there. It's going to be a very different venue. It's going to be great access. We're going to have more space than we can have in San Diego. It will be more affordable to travel there. It will be more affordable to stay and eat. We have a venue in the Union Station. I'll let Jeff's our man on the ground there, so he can tell us more, but we have a venue there at Union Station. You can fly into Minneapolis Airport, a wonderful airport, a big one. I don't usually say wonderful airport, but it's one of them. It's big. And then you can take light rail directly to the convention, and hotels downtown, lots of great places to eat. There's a fort nearby. We're going to visit that on Friday before. That's my intention. I'm going to visit. If nobody else wants to go, they don't have to, but I think Jeff said at the confluence of the mighty Mississippi and the not so mighty Minnesota rivers, there is a fort, and we'll be there. There was a flurry of fort activity right after the War of 1812 when we said never again. And this was one of them. As a matter of fact, the fort we go to Newport, that fort also was really exploded after, not exploded, that's a bad term, I guess, for a fort, but it really expanded dramatically after the War of 1812. So it's a very cool fort. We're looking forward to some history. There's also some cool art in Minneapolis, and I'm excited to be able to look at some of that, some interesting collections. Then we're going to have the night before, we'll have a gathering just like we do in San Diego. And then, we recently expanded our rentals. Instead of one big room, it's 2 big rooms, and it's over 5,000 square feet. So it's pretty cool. We're excited about that. And we'll see how it goes. Early demand indications are great. It has all the potential to be a much bigger event even than San Diego. But at the same time, we'll be very much focused on historical games. And, people can play whatever they want, but, we want people that are willing to come there and play the games. So that's the organizational summary is all is good. and getting better. And then Jeff, given that you live there and you live in St. Paul, I believe, but I understand those are the Twin Cities. So excited to come visit you. What can we expect?
Yeah, so the venue is in St. Paul. I mean, I think a lot of times we use the shorthand Minneapolis to mean Minneapolis and St. Paul, but technically in St. Paul, which is the kind of kid brother, I would say, to Minneapolis. Maybe not as hip, but more steeped, I would argue, in history. A lot of if you go back to the late 19th century, a lot of the rail money and rail barons, people like James J. Hill, there's quite a bit of money sloshing around. So you can see that as artifact. I mean, you could see places like the Union Depot where we're going to meet. It's a gorgeous facility. And it's kind of it speaks of that heritage. So it will be in downtown St. Paul. It will not be on the first floor. So it still is an active transit area. So there's light rail that comes into it. There's transit that goes in and out of a public transportation perspective. We'll be up on the second floor, but with a view out in kind of this large marble lobby. So it's pretty cool. That'll be one room, the bigger room, and then we'll have another room called the Veterans Gallery, appropriately, where we'll stage ourselves. So I think we'll have plenty of table space, plenty of elbow room, depending on demand. I mean, if we sell this thing through, we might have to jam a few more tables. For those of you that have been to our face-to-face convention at San Diego, you'll know what I'm talking about. But excited for that. As Harold mentioned, we'll do a kind of pre-con events, probably likely at Fort Snelling is the fort that Harold was referencing, as well as an evening yet to be decided where we're going to meet, but likely there's several breweries that are in walking distance to the venue. So similar to how we have the brewery event at Epic Brewery and San Diego, same thing here. And then we'll be meeting Saturday and Sunday. And I believe right now the planned hours are 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., but we may be able to negotiate a little wiggle room on both ends of that and try to make the most of our time. And in terms of who's going to attend, we're blessed with some really great local talent. We've got, great influencers like Mike, Zilla Blitz, that, is going to join us. We've also got folks like Cole Worley, and I'm hoping his brother Drew comes as well. Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, folks that have already committed verbally, folks like David Thompson. I know Voco would like to make it. Harold, you'll be there, and I'm sure that list is going to grow.
Like I said, I'm seriously going to. I may actually have to just miss WBC and come to Minneapolis.
We'd love it, Mark.
Can't do both.
We'd love it. We'd love it. I think the other thing is
it's the Union Depot, not in the train station.
It is the Union Depot. It is an older depot. It was an operable depot. Like my mom has great stories when she was growing up of taking the train in and out of there. This would have been in the early to mid 50s. But it's.
And how far is the train ride from the train? Approximately how long is the train ride from the airport to the Union Depot?
It longer than it should take. So it's doable, but the challenge is it routes you into Minneapolis, and then you route from Minneapolis to St. Paul. And frankly, it's like a 15-minute Uber or cab or
I'll take a car.
Ride from car to the venue is going to be a lot easier. Otherwise, you're probably looking at a 45 or 50-minute train ride. Not that you wouldn't see a lot along that route, but if you're looking to go expeditiously and make the most of your time, I think maybe that isn't the way.
Well, I'll get in on Friday. If I come, I'm going to get in on Friday. I'll come to wherever the mixer is, and I heard there was maybe the Minnesota Twins game somewhere. Who the hell knows?
I do know that, actually. I looked it up. Yeah, the Twins are playing the Angels on Friday night, and then they're playing again on Saturday and Sunday during the day. You'd be sacrificing your board gaming time to see them on the weekend there, but they are in town on Friday night. And we have a minor league baseball team, but they are out of town.
Yeah, they are.
I got to first get to Minneapolis, get there, and I'll sort this out later.
Yeah. But the airport, I mean, to Jeff's point, the airport's very accessible to both downtowns. So whether it's Uber or train,
I've been there. There's a lot of solutions there. This will be the first time I'll be in Minneapolis or that area when it's warm, because every time I've been there, it's been like 10 below zero.
And I might be making this up, but I think it's true that if I'm not sure, the only confirmed month without ever having any snowfall in Minnesota is July. So I think we're safe.
I think that
we've actually had snowfall in August at one point in time.
And June as well in living memory.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's true. That is, and I distinctly remember an August one. So
so
we're bringing a coat, it sounds like.
And the other thing too, I think that's there's so many parks to walk around. The lakes and are so much fun to walk around. It's a home of rollerblading, so you can rent those and be careful and try that. But there's a lot of things to do if you like to just get outside and get fresh air too. So
my 71-year-old body does not bounce anymore. Hasn't in a long time.
We may have Pat.
If the tickets will go on sale for the public on March 7th at noon. Probably Pacific time.
And I might, if I could add something too, because it's a question that it's something I see too. And even like, watching the comments on the innovation discussion earlier today, a lot of people saying, I'm new to the hobby. I'm just learning. And I think this is, we've got an audience here of a lot of different levels of experience with historical board gaming. If you've never been to a historical board game conference before, come. I mean, it transforms the hobby in this type of conference because it's small and people are friendly and people are going to reach out and engage. The work you do at SDHistCon to make it a welcoming experience for everybody, and the accessibility to get into games at tables, and the way people can sign up for games beforehand, the way you can schedule things, the questions you can ask. I can't tell you, how much that changes the hobby to be able to do that. I went to the SDHistCon in San Diego, my first conference ever 3 years ago. And it just completely changed it because you make friends that you're then going to play games with in other places. And then, people at the online convention, it just exponentially makes the hobby better. And there is no better conference, I would say, here. And then Circle DC is another one of my favorites, but same type of experience. If you can't get to the SDHistCon in Minnesota or San Diego, that's another one to look at, but try to lean into one of these things because it will completely change your board gaming experience. And this is there, I'd say it to everybody who asks me, there's no better organization to go to one of these than with the work that you guys do, And
it's much appreciated, Mike, the advertisement. I think we're a not-for-profit. Nobody gets paid to do anything with us. And so we push the money back in. We work to get people there. We have a scholarship fund. We work to get the people we want at the convention. And there's a lot that we do with these funds. And it's really just our goal to grow the hobby. We have a professional board. We're organized and incorporated. And so we treat this as serious business. This isn't, it's a hobby for us. Of course, all of us are volunteers. Nobody gets paid, but it's a great, we feel great responsibility with these events. One of the things we do, Mike, as you know, is as soon as you sign up, once it goes on sale to the public, very shortly after that, we'll open a Discord site for the event. And so we'll have a number of people come in to that. The vast majority of attendees, and they get to meet each other and express an interest in a game, and they'll develop the most obscure game you can imagine. You'll see 3 or 4 people pop up in a conversation. So it's a fantastic opportunity, I think, to mix with people before the con. It's not like the day you come is the first day you touch anything. You really are already integrated. You may even have events already planned before you even see the space.
Yeah, and I think there is a certain there's a certain amount of courage to come to, especially if you're traveling by yourself. But you'll be able to do it. It will be so easy, and you'll have a marvelous time. Yeah. It's just, you can't say enough about what these experiences can do to change your hobby. So, and to kind of to riff on the point about the how much work you guys put into it. I mean, I helped out for about a half year or so, and you guys meet every week you're meeting, and this is done today, but you're planning the next thing starting this week, right? It just never stops, and I hope people realize all the work that you guys put into it. I was absolutely floored when you said you want to help out. I was like, yeah, sure. They're like, oh my gosh, it's like a part-time job. You guys do so much work. It's amazing how much effort and time you put into it. So
got to keep it going, Mike. We got conflicts of interest too, you know, between the events we have, right? Andrew does yeoman's work of getting content out there. And so, yeah.
And just the people behind the scenes doing it, you know, the technical work. You've got some fantastic people that are doing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of many hands made for light work, and we've got some excellent people like Edgar. Pratik is a wonder. Hey, we're blessed with some great volunteers.
Andrew is, you know,
fantastic.
Does yeoman's work. Yeah.
So
there's a whole board, as you know. There's a board and then a board of advisors with Mark Herman, Volko, Jason Matthews, David Thompson, Liz, Candace, Kai Jensen. We really are a lot of smart people putting a lot of interest and time into it. So it's a labor of love, but a lot of time spent.
Actually, he's exaggerating. He asks me like one question a year. I answer it incorrectly, and he moves on.
I know what the answer is going to be, but I figure it's just a courtesy to ask.
Okay, that's good.
Here's another endorsement from some guy, Kevin Bertram, who says, I am super shy, but attended SDHistCon for the first time in 2019. It was so amazing and welcome. Kevin Bertram is the owner of Fort Circle Games, by the way. He's not super shy, but he goes.
I like Kevin's, and I look forward to seeing him in April.
Yes.
Circle DC.
Yes. Circle DC coming up.
Coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great con. Lots of great people there and lots of fun. And always good to see him at SDHist. You know, his Fort Circle Games, always doing something interesting, always has an interesting prototype. I played his prototype on the Shakespeare folios while he was in. It's awesome, just fun. And, it's a historical perspective on a game that I could play with my wife, and she might even let me teach it to her. So I can't wait.
And I'm excited now because I'm just picking up off stage. We have two very special guests who are joining us. I think, Harold, you mentioned from a birthday party.
Maybe.
But I'm going to welcome in. And this was supposed to be a secret, but I blew it during morning coffee tonight. So without any further ado, I'm going to pull our special guests on stage. Drew and Cole, hello.
Hello. How are you?
Are you good? Good. Thank you so much for joining us. Are you guys at a birthday party? Is that?
We are indeed. Actually, it's we're coming at you from northeastern Minneapolis and a friend's board game themed birthday party. It's 40Con. He made badges for everyone. What a celebration. It's really nice.
Awesome.
And we're also celebrating lots because I think there's been a lot of changes in our lives in the last few weeks too. So it's fun to cut aside some time to celebrate a friend and to usher in the birth of a new company for us. So it's been exciting days.
Harold wants to ask you some questions about that too, right?
Yeah, I'm first of all, I didn't realize that Drew was so much bigger than Cole. I thought they were about the same size when I seen them together, but this is so that's good to know. But secondly, very excited for you guys in this transition, and I keep saying sleeping giant, but it's not sleeping giant that we've awakened. It's this.
We woke up. Still buried.
So tell it what I don't want to pry too much. I know it's a transitional time, but what can you tell us about what you're doing?
So this is a really interesting new venture for us because in some respects it's an old venture. We're using this as an opportunity to combine all of the fantasy work that I was doing previously at Leader with all of our historical work. So it's already bearing fruits. Like right now, for instance, Josh Yearsley, who's editor extraordinaire, is going through and posting new digital rule books for all of our games. We've got new and improved errata. And what we're doing is we're trying to meld the fantasy and science fiction work that I did kind of in my day job with the historical work. And it should mean that players are going to get more of both types of games.
Yeah, it's supporting the Whirligig line in a way that it was just Cole and I before, and to have the sort of staff infrastructure of a mid-sized publisher out in the first month of existence is already bearing fruit. So I'm really excited that this strengthens the Whirligig line. Yeah, it's great news.
That's awesome. And we're so excited that both of you are part of SDHistCon and have been around for a long time, and we appreciate your efforts.
Are you still at Leader Games there, Cole?
Not anymore. Not anymore as of the 7th of
That might be,
January.
if I could interject, maybe just because there are people who don't know this. So
Yeah.
maybe the big picture story, just
Okay,
to
yeah.
say.
So here, I'll drop the news properly. So
Yeah, for sure.
Myself and several of the staff of Leader Games have broken off and formed this new company. And the new company is formed of, myself, Kyle Farron, who's the illustrator of Root and Arcs and Oath, Ted Kaya, who's the former operations director. And then we have a whole host of people from Leader, including Josh Yearsley, Patty Hyun, Megan Gainey, who are fabulous graphic designers, and Matt Martins, who will be our event coordinator, do community management. And then, of course, the critical member, Drew, who's kind of rounds up the team. And these are people who have all been making games together for a long time. And Leader was in the process of kind of reevaluating some of their creative goals over the next few years. And it just made a lot of sense for us to just sort of part ways very amicably. And thankfully, with Whirligig, we had a boat that was big enough that we could all climb into.
Yeah. So this is going to be the new home for Oath and Arcs, and continuing to like steward those games and make the style of games that we had, and also continuing with the Whirligig project. So that'll remain an independent, separate publishing label that'll be folded under the studios of Buried Giant. So in some ways, like it strengthens both lines of Buried Giant games and Whirligig games. So it's really nice that we have like a strong back catalog of Whirligig projects that now have the proper staff to support it.
Well, I look forward to talking to you about it at some point privately.
And I know is this, I mean, it's got to have a certain startup feel to it. Are you guys getting enough sleep? Are you working 16-hour days? How's the past couple of weeks been?
It's been interesting. I mean, we in order to get everything set up, we had kind of a manic 2-month period.
The holidays were a mess.
We were having meetings about the finance of the company on Christmas Eve. But already we can start to see things loosen up a little bit. I mean, previously I would work, 50 hours a week at my day job at Leader, and then on the weekend
I would try not to ask Cole to do stuff.
Of course, like Saturdays and Sundays, we are working on the historical games. And Drew came up for a visit, so he was in the Twin Cities with me this week. We worked on Wednesday, worked on Thursday, worked on Friday. We got to the end of Friday and realized, well, we did everything we were supposed to do. The Whirligig work is already done. So you know what we did? We played a 2-player game of Here I Stand. Just to round out the work.
It's an interesting 2-player.
It's a good 2-player. Yeah. So I'm looking forward. I think, we are still in those heady early days where there aren't enough hours in the day, but eventually this is going to allow us to all have better balances in our work life.
Well, congratulations on the new venture too. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, we're behind you 100%, right? If you get into
this is like a CNN breaking news thing. It's really good.
And I will say it's going to be so nice that one of our mid milestone goals that we're looking forward to is getting through the next few months of projects and announcements and working towards the July SDHist North a collaboration. I cannot wait to bring the Buried Giant staff and folks out there because we have some really fun things to show folks in July.
Yeah, we cannot wait. I mean, we might have office tours.
There might be an office
I'm going to try to get people on boats. It's going to be great.
I can't wait.
That's awesome. Well, we're excited and excited to see you guys in Minneapolis. Well, I keep saying Minneapolis, but St. Paul.
Yeah. Twin City, we love it.
Yeah, it's all one big happy
So
family.
do you live in St. Paul, or are you moving there, or what's the story?
I think it's only inevitable now that I'll be moving up.
I get to stop trying to convince him.
Yeah, no, it's finally happening.
But it was funny. We were driving around today. I kept finding myself talking about the virtues of all the neighborhoods that we were driving through, and then Drew's like, "Stop! You don't have to do that."
Yeah, this is enough of a life-changing event. I think. Yeah. I can't wait to see folks come up here. It'll be really special.
Cool. That's awesome. So, we'll talk more about big plans for the convention as we get closer. But excited to have you guys as part of that and your organizations, and and congrats on the transition. Good luck with that.
Yeah, and I hope the day's been great. I love seeing some of the screenshots from Andrew from the day. I wish we could have been online with y'all. And I'm so glad to see winter quarters continue. It brings a lot of joy over here.
Yeah, good. Thanks for taking the time, guys. I know you're busy with your friends.
Yeah, had a great birthday party. And
have a good time finishing the party.
yeah, thank you so much for stopping in. Yep, take care. Bye. Yeah.
That was wow. I didn't know any of that. That's hysterical.
Oh, so it was a news breaking thing for you. Yeah.
Me, I'm like a hermit in a cave. Every so often I come out and Harold goes, "Hey, you want to meet Tom McFarlane? He's really famous." I go, "Oh, is he somebody? I don't know." I'm really like clueless. I have always been clueless, and it makes me happy.
No, I'm really glad you asked the question, because as you were talking, there was a certain amount of assumed knowledge there, and I'm like, I don't think everybody knows the background here. So I was glad you asked that.
Yeah, I think if you're definitely local to the Twin Cities, I can only speak for myself. In my gaming group, we've got several text threads to just, like you have to do, coordinate time and place and everything, right? But my phone started blowing up, I think was on the 7th, and I was like, what happened? Like, I had the same reaction as Mark, like, what is everyone talking about? And then I found the press release, and I was like, oh, this is good for those guys. Excited for them.
I didn't realize. I guess Cole owns the rights to Oath and to ARCs. I guess I heard him say. I guess, and did he say Root also, or was that Root a leader thing? I wasn't sure.
Root. Not
Root. Okay.
Yeah, I think that stays.
Well, like I said, that's a good start right there. I mean, Oath is great. In fact, I got to play Oath. I was talking to Cole at SDHistCon in San Diego. And I said to him, "Hey, if you got channel, I really would like to play Oath with you guys. I never get to play with anybody, so I got to play with him and Drew and the whole crew there, and had a great time. Came within one card of winning the game, but they all figured out like, oh, he's going to win the game. Let's stop him. That was the end of that. But at least I pulled it. I got close.
That's good.
That would be some serious bragging rights there.
Well, Mike, it was great. Appreciate you hosting. Appreciate your support. You say you don't work with us anymore, but you work with us all the time, and we appreciate it so much. So thanks for pulling us together here. And
yeah, for sure. I think we've covered. I'm assuming by that lead in there, we've covered the topics you would hope to talk about, and anything left that's to be said about the day or the upcoming SDHistCon Minnesota.
Looks like I'm definitely coming to Minneapolis or St. Paul now.
Did you see you got a new name, Mark? Did you see that one?
Yeah, Mark Hermit. That's cute.
Mark Hermit. Yeah, Molotov Teal has given you a new name. Yeah.
Sounds good to me. I'm okay with it.
Well, yeah, thank you so much again, everyone, for putting this together and for stopping in. And it's been a great wrap up for the con, a great way to end a day. I'm sure you guys will get a chance now to take a deep breath and relax after all the hard work. And Mark, thank you for your presentations today and for joining here as well. And thank you everybody too, just watching the stream of comments and all the people participating. Again, talk about that. It's there's SDHistCon staff doing it, but the community here, everybody that's presenting, that's volunteering their time to present, the designers that are here that are super busy taking time out of their weekends to do it, and just the level of courtesy and kindness and gratitude shown by everybody who attends the conference. There's everybody plays a part in this, and so it's just really appreciative for everybody that can take their time to make our hobby a better adventure. So thanks everybody for participating, and Jeff and Harold, thanks for joining. And unless there's some final words, I think this is to bid adieu.
You're a pro, Mike. We appreciate it.
Very good.
Yeah, great. Thank you, everybody, for attending. This will be, as well as other sessions, too, just a final word. This will stay up on the SDHistCon YouTube channel. It will also be on my Zilla Blitz channel. And you can check if you missed some of the YouTube events at SDHistCon today. Check out the SDHistCon YouTube channel, because I know there's at least a half dozen things up there that you can check out, and they'll be up there forever. So if you say, oh, I wish I could have heard Mark Herman talk about Army of the Potomac, it's there. So go check it out and subscribe when you're there so that you don't miss other fun events too. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.